What's going on, guys? Cameron back again from Attack on Anime, here to bring you another anime review. Now we're going to be covering one of my favorite animes from this anime season, Erased episode 6. And this episode does not disappoint at all. Now when we get into it, we pick up right where we left off. Airi's house is on fire. The killer has tracked her down and set her house ablaze. And Satoru, he charges in after her to go and save her. And as soon as he grabs her up, she slips the phone into his pocket because she's just like, if you find this out later, because Satoru puts two and two together, he's just like, if they would have took her phone, it would have showed that a text message came from my phone to her phone telling her to stay where she was right before the fire started. So it would have incriminated him that much further. So Airi is really smart for, I think she's 16 or 17, but she's really on her toes about a lot of things. Like, she puts two and two together really fast. And as the fire's happening, the manager charges in and he's trying to help after he sort of caused this a little bit. Because he was just like, oh, I'm going to follow her home and try to get Satoru arrested. But he charges in and helps her, and he tells Satoru, don't get her involved any further, because she just almost died for you. And Satoru goes out the back door, and he's just like, dude, I gotta figure this out fast. Because the more time I waste, the more smarter this killer is getting, and the more he's framing me and getting me into more and more trouble. And Satoru makes a call to Sawada, who is a former co-worker of his mother's, and Sawada doesn't suspect him of killing his mother because his mom actually had called him in the first episode when she figured out real quick who the killer was, and she called Sawada to tell him, but she was just like, we're gonna meet up. But then of course she died by the end of the first episode. So Sawada was just like, man, I should have just asked her over the phone who the killer was. I would have known already. We could have got this guy and none of this would have happened. So Sawada and Satoru were kind of beating themselves up about it a little bit because Sawada has never really dropped this case of Kaio and all the other murders from 18 years ago because he knew that Yuki didn't do it either. So he's just like, I gotta find out. So as he's talking to him, he explains to Satoru what happened on March 2nd. And pretty much what happened was Kaio's mom beat her and left her in the shed at night. But by the morning, she was gone. And I'm just like, okay, that means the footprints we saw at the end of the episode where Satoru saw by the shed after she had disappeared, he was just like, okay, so those footprints belong to the actual killer. But everybody associated those footprints with Yuki because they matched his boots. So that's when they started to pin all this evidence on Yuki because he was always hanging around kids. And he had even been seen with Kaio a few times. So everybody was just like, this is an open and shut case, Johnson. Of course Yuki did it. So that's why Yuki got arrested. And to this day, he's on, apparently, and on this episode, they say he's on death row. I don't know if they said that before. I don't remember. I just remember them saying he was locked up for life. But apparently he's on death row. And to this day, he claims his innocence. But Sawada also gives Satoru a list of suspects, 5 suspects. And Satoru only knows 2 people on the list. Of course, Yuki is on there. And then Yuki's dad. Now, it's starting to point towards that Yuki's dad may have been the one to commit those murders. Because, one, he would have had access to all the same things that they associated with Yuki. The boots, the food storage locker, all of that. And even Sawada was just like, I think Yuki was trying to defend his dad because anytime we would start to ask about his dad or anything, he wouldn't say anything because he didn't want to incriminate his dad. And Satoru was just like, that makes sense because he loved his dad so dearly. So maybe the dad kind of molested Yuki, maybe. And then that's kind of why Yuki is just like always around kids or whatever, just because that's what he was raised around. Like that's usually how it works with molestation cases. And I just think that's just a theory that's not proven yet. But as we keep going, we find out that there was a similar situation in the town over, that they had all these murders and a dude was arrested over there that claimed his innocence just like Yuki did. So Sawada is just like, are you starting to see the link here? Like, people are being framed by the actual murderer so he can go to the next town over, do the same thing, get someone framed, and then just keep the cycle going until he gets caught. So Sawada is just like, I've been fighting this for 18 years trying to find out who actually did this. And he only has these 5 suspects. But as we go through the episode even more, we see that Irie's in the hospital and the cops are suspecting her of being an accomplice to the murder of Mrs. Fujinama because she helped Satoru like hide while she knew he was being looked for by the police. So pretty much Irie's mom helps her escape by taking her place in the hospital, but Irie is followed. And she's going to meet up with Satoru under the bridge, and she's followed by all of these cops, and Satoru is arrested. And by the end of this episode, Satoru looks to the right, and who does he see? The same person that murdered his mom, sitting there smiling with those red devilish eyes and that hat on. And then Blue Butterfly, end of episode. So we know the next episode we're going to get a revival moment. Is he going to go back 18 years? Is he going to go back to when he came back from the 18 years? We don't know yet. I'm assuming he's going to go back into the 18 years. And the 5 suspects that we got on this list are going to start to turn up. And Satoru's going to start investigating them, making sure they're not on any dirt, and just trying to really prevent Kaio's death again. So the fact that Satoru is one of the most hard-working anime characters I've ever seen, because he has so much on his shoulders. He's trying to resurrect his mom, essentially, stop Kaio from dying, and prove Yuki's innocence, while also saving 2 other kids. So right now, Satoru has the weight of the world on his shoulders, and this anime is ramping up so much, and we're only like halfway through this season. Man, I cannot wait for the next episode, you guys. I hope you guys have been checking this out. If you haven't, you need to get caught up immediately. But until next time, guys, I'm out.